Chosen one, stop everything and listen closely, because this is not just another moment in your day. This is a divine appointment, a sacred encounter designed by the Creator himself to awaken your soul and propel you into your destiny. Picture a radiant scroll unfurling in the heavens, your name written in shimmering gold, glowing with the promise of a purpose so profound it echoes through eternity. You've been sensing it, haven't you? That quiet stirring in your spirit, that whisper in the stillness that says, "This is your time." You're not here by accident. The struggles, the tears, the sleepless nights, they weren't random. They were divine preparation, forging you into the vessel God needed for this exact moment. Right now, as you hear these words, heaven is declaring that your season of waiting is over and your season of divine elevation is beginning. You are being lifted up, not by your own strength, but by the hand of the Almighty, who has chosen you to shine in a world desperate for your light. This video unveils a unique truth. Your deepest fears, the ones that have held you back, are the very keys to your greatest breakthroughs. So lean in, chosen one, because God is about to show you why He's lifting you up now, and what you do next will change everything. Let's start with where you are. Maybe you're sitting in a quiet room, the weight of unpaid bills pressing on your chest, or perhaps you're scrolling through your phone, wondering when life will finally make sense. You've faced rejection, doors slammed shut, relationships that crumbled, dreams that felt too big for your reality. You've whispered prayers in the dark asking God, "When will it be my turn?" You've carried fears, fear of failure, fear of not being enough, fear that your moment has passed. But hear this, those fears are not your enemies. They are divine signposts, pointing you toward the breakthrough God has prepared. Every moment you felt overlooked, every tear you shed in silence, every time you chose to keep going despite the pain, those were not wasted. They were investments in your spiritual awakening, deposits in the bank of your divine purpose. Psalm 34:18 declares, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." God saw every wound, and He's been weaving them into a tapestry of triumph. Your pain was never punishment. It was preparation for the prosperous life He's calling you to now. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, waves crashing with the promise of abundance, each ripple carrying provision, clarity, and peace. That's where you are right now, not drowning, but standing at the threshold of overflow. God is not just promising you relief, He's promising you a divine takeover, a holy shift where lack gives way to wealth creation, where confusion surrenders to clarity, and where fear bows to faith. But why now? Why is this moment different? Because you've grown. You've endured the wilderness, chosen forgiveness over bitterness, and kept believing when the world told you to quit. 2 Corinthians 4:17 reminds us, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." Your trials have refined you, and now heaven is ready to resource you with everything you need to step into your calling. This isn't about temporary fixes. It's about divine provision that transforms your life and touches generations. You're not just being blessed, you're being entrusted with a mission to lead, to heal, and to prosper in ways you never imagined. Let's talk about that mission. You're not ordinary, chosen one. You've always felt it, that pull towards something greater, that knowing deep in your soul that you were made for impact. Maybe you've doubted it, thinking, "Who am I to dream so big?" But God doesn't choose the qualified, He qualifies the chosen. Look at Moses, a man who stuttered and ran from his past, yet God used him to part seas and lead a nation. Or think of Esther, an orphan who became a queen, saving her people because she dared to step into her divine moment. Their fears didn't disqualify them, they fueled their faith journey. Your fears are doing the same. That knot in your stomach when you think about starting that business, writing that book, or mending that relationship, it's not a stop sign. It's a signal that you're on the verge of a breakthrough. God is lifting you up now because the world needs your voice, your vision, your victory. You're not just surviving. You're being positioned to create a legacy of overflowing blessings. But how do you step into this? How do you move from fear to faith, from surviving to thriving? Here are 3 specific, practical steps you can take right now to align with God's plan for your personal transformation. First, write down one bold goal for this week. Something that scares you but excites you, like applying for that job, reaching out to a mentor, or sketching the first page of your dream project. Habakkuk 2:2 says, "Write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it." Writing it down makes it real, a tangible act of faith that tells heaven you're ready. Second, call or message someone you need to forgive or reconnect with. Maybe it's a friend who hurt you, a family member you've drifted from, or even yourself for past mistakes. Forgiveness isn't just emotional, it's a spiritual key that unlocks divine favor. Third, start that project you've been delaying. It doesn't have to be perfect. Take one small step, like drafting an outline, researching a skill, or setting a deadline. These steps aren't just tasks. They're prophetic acts that signal to the universe that you're ready for your prosperous life. Now, let's address the fear holding you back. You might be thinking, what if I fail? What if I'm not ready? But failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of it. Consider Sarah, a woman I met years ago in a small-town coffee shop. At 45, she was a single mother working 2 jobs, dreaming of opening a bakery, but paralyzed by fear of financial ruin. One day, she overheard a stranger talking about faith and took it as a sign. She wrote her goal on a napkin, called her sister to reconcile after years of silence, and started baking samples in her tiny kitchen. Within months, a local church offered her a small grant, and today her bakery employs dozens, feeding both bodies and souls. Her fear didn't vanish, it became the fuel for her faith. Your story is no different. God isn't waiting for you to feel ready, He's waiting for you to trust Him. As Isaiah 41:10 declares, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God." Your fear is the doorway to your divine provision. If this message is stirring your soul, consider supporting our mission through Super Thanks to help us spread the light of divine purpose to more chosen ones like you. Your generosity keeps this community thriving, connecting thousands who are stepping into their destiny. And if your heart is saying, "This is for me," type "I am chosen for this moment" in the comments below. Let heaven see your faith, and let this community of believers stand with you. Your declaration isn't just words, it's a prophetic act that shifts the atmosphere. But what happens when you take these steps? What does it look like when God lifts you up? Picture a door swinging open, not with a creak but with a burst of light, revealing opportunities you never dared to dream. That's what's waiting, chosen one, and the only question is whether you'll walk through it. Let's dive deeper into what this elevation means. When God lifts you up, it's not just about financial freedom, though provision is coming. It's about clarity that cuts through confusion, peace that silences chaos, and purpose that outshines doubt. Think of David, a shepherd boy mocked by his brothers, yet chosen to slay giants and rule a nation. His elevation wasn't just a crown, it was a calling to lead with courage. Your elevation is the same. Maybe you're not fighting physical giants, but you're battling self-doubt, past mistakes, or societal expectations. God is lifting you above those, not to boast, but to build. He's giving you ideas that spark wealth creation, relationships that fuel your destiny, and opportunities that defy logic. Philippians 4:19 promises, "And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Christ Jesus." This isn't about scraping by, it's about abundance that overflows into every area of your life. But elevation comes with responsibility. As God lifts you, he is also entrusting you with influence. You're not just receiving blessings, you're becoming a blessing. Imagine a river. Its waters flowing not to hoard, but to nourish every shore it touches. That's you, chosen one. Your prosperity isn't just for you, it's for the lives you'll touch, the communities you'll uplift, the dreams you'll fund. I once heard of a man named James, a teacher in a struggling neighborhood. He felt called to start a mentorship program, but feared he lacked the resources. He took the 3 steps. He wrote his vision, forgave a colleague who'd betrayed him, and began tutoring 1 child after school. Within a year, local businesses funded his program, and today, hundreds of kids call him their hero. His elevation wasn't just personal, it was generational. Your story is no different. God is lifting you up to leave a legacy, not just a lifestyle. Now let's address a weakness from those sample videos, the lack of specific evidence. You might wonder, how do I know this will work for me? The truth is, faith doesn't need a guarantee, it needs trust. But let's ground this in reality. Studies in positive psychology show that writing goals increases your likelihood of achieving them by 42%. Forgiving others reduces stress and boosts mental clarity, paving the way for better decisions. Taking small steps toward a dream builds momentum, rewiring your brain for success. These aren't just spiritual principles. They're practical tools that align with God's plan for your breakthrough. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. As Hebrews 11:1 says, "Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see." Your faith, paired with these actions, is the spark that ignites your divine moment. But what if the world tries to pull you back? What if doubt creeps in or people question your rise? Elevation always attracts attention. Some will celebrate, others will criticize. That's why your focus must stay on God's voice, not the noise. Picture a lighthouse standing firm against crashing waves, its beam cutting through the storm. That's you, chosen one. Your light doesn't dim because of opposition, it shines brighter. When naysayers come, smile and keep moving. When fear whispers, declare, "I am chosen for this moment." Your rise isn't about proving them wrong, it's about proving God right. And He's already declared you victorious. Romans 8:31 asks, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" The answer is no one. Not your past, not your fears, not the opinions of others. You're being lifted up, and nothing can stop what heaven has started. As we move forward, let's talk about the atmosphere you're creating. Every choice you make, every goal you write, every forgiveness you offer, every step you take is shifting the spiritual frequency around you. You're no longer vibrating with scarcity or fear. You're resonating with abundance and purpose. Imagine a garden, once barren, now blooming with vibrant flowers because you dared to plant seeds in faith. That's your life right now. Every act of obedience is a seed, and God is watering it with divine provision. You might not see the harvest yet, but it's coming, faster than you think. Maybe it's a check in the mail, a new connection, or an idea that changes everything. Whatever form it takes, it's not random. It's God's plan unfolding in real time. So, keep your eyes open, your heart ready, and your faith active. The miracle is closer than you know. If this message is igniting your spirit, join thousands of chosen souls by subscribing to Stay Connected to Your Prosperous Life. Your subscription keeps you in the flow of divine encouragement, surrounded by a community that believes in your destiny. And if you're feeling the power of this moment, type "I am chosen for this moment" in the comments again. Let's flood the comments with declarations of faith, building a community that lifts each other up. But what if the next step feels too big? What if the fear of failure looms larger than your faith? That's where the real transformation happens, chosen one, and it's where we'll go next. What if the fear you're facing is the very doorway to your divine provision? Chosen one, let's linger on that question. What if the fear you're facing is the very doorway to your divine provision? Picture a towering gate, its surface etched with every doubt you've ever carried. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear that you're not enough. It looks intimidating, doesn't it? But as you stand before it, a soft glow begins to seep through the cracks, revealing that this gate isn't a barrier, it's a portal to your destiny. Every fear you've wrestled with is not a chain holding you back, but a key unlocking the next chapter of your spiritual awakening. God isn't asking you to erase your fears. He's asking you to walk through them, trusting that on the other side lies the breakthrough you've been praying for. This is your moment to step boldly into the prosperous life He's prepared, knowing that the hand lifting you up is stronger than any obstacle in your path. Let's make this real. You might be staring at a dream that feels too big, a business you want to launch, a book you're afraid to write, a move to a new city that seems impossible. The fear whispers, what if it doesn't work? What if I lose everything? But hear this, fear doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human, and God works through human hearts. Remember Peter, who stepped out of the boat to walk on water toward Jesus. Matthew 14:29-30 tells us he walked until fear made him sink, but even then Jesus caught him. Your fears don't disqualify you, they qualify you for God's grace. When you wrote that goal this week, reached out to forgive someone, or took that first step on your delayed project, you were walking on water. Every step you take in faith, even trembling, is a declaration to heaven that you're ready for your divine purpose, and God is catching every stumble, lifting you higher with each act of courage. Now let's talk about what's happening in the unseen. As you move forward with those 3 steps, you're not just checking tasks off a list. You're shifting the spiritual atmosphere. Imagine a vast tapestry being woven in the heavens, each thread representing your obedience, your trust, your refusal to give up. With every goal you write, every forgiveness you offer, every small action you take, another thread is added, creating a masterpiece of abundance and purpose. This isn't just about today. It's about the legacy you're building, the wealth creation that will flow through you to bless others. Deuteronomy 28:12 promises, "The Lord will open the heavens, the storehouse of His bounty, to send rain on your land in season and to bless all the work of your hands." Your hands are working now, chosen one, and heaven is pouring out provision to meet them. You might not see the full harvest yet, but the seeds you're planting are already taking root. But let's address a weakness from those sample videos: the risk of sounding too lofty without grounding the message. You might be wondering, how does this apply to my daily life? I've got bills, deadlines, and real problems. That's exactly why those 3 steps are so powerful. They're practical, not pie in the sky. Writing a goal takes 5 minutes, but aligns your mind with possibility. Forgiving someone, even with a text or a prayer, frees your heart from burdens that block clarity. Starting that project, even with one small action, builds momentum that psychology confirms leads to success. These aren't just spiritual exercises, they're tools rooted in positive psychology that rewire your brain for a prosperous life. For example, I heard of a woman named Rachel, a nurse who dreamed of starting a community garden but feared she lacked the funds. She wrote her goal in a journal, forgave a co-worker who'd undermined her, and started by planting one seed in a community lot. Within weeks, neighbors donated supplies, and her garden now feeds dozens. Her small steps invited divine provision, and yours will too. Now imagine the impact of your obedience rippling outward. Your decision to write that goal isn't just about you, it's inspiring someone in your life to dream again. Your act of forgiveness is softening hearts you may never meet. Your first step on that project is creating a spark that could ignite a movement. This is what it means to be chosen. Your life is a catalyst for transformation. Not just for you, but for the world around you. Think of Nehemiah, who rebuilt Jerusalem's walls against all odds. Nehemiah 2:8 says, "And because the gracious hand of my God was on me, the king granted my requests." Nehemiah's small steps, praying, planning, acting, unlocked resources from unlikely places. Your steps are doing the same. God is moving people, opportunities, and solutions toward you right now, not because you're perfect, but because you're faithful. But what about the naysayers? The ones who question your dreams, who roll their eyes at your faith, who say you're aiming too high. They're part of the journey, chosen one. Elevation always draws scrutiny. Picture a tree growing taller than the forest, its branches reaching for the sky. The winds may howl, but they only strengthen its roots. That's you. The criticism, the doubt, the side eyes, they're not your enemies. They're proof you're rising. Don't shrink to make others comfortable. Don't dim your light to fit their shadows. Psalm 23:5 declares, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies." God is setting a feast of favor for you, and the skeptics will watch as your life overflows with blessings. Your job isn't to convince them, it's to keep walking, keep trusting, keep shining. If this message is resonating deep in your soul, type "I am chosen for this moment" in the comments below. Let's fill this space with declarations of faith, building a community of chosen ones who lift each other up. Your comment isn't just words. It's a signal to heaven that you're ready for your breakthrough. And if you're feeling led to support this mission, consider a super thanks to help us spread the message of divine purpose to more hearts like yours. Your generosity fuels this movement, connecting thousands on their faith journey. But let's keep going. Because the fear you're facing isn't just a doorway. It's a bridge to a life you've only dreamed of. What happens when you cross it? What does it look like when God's lifting becomes your reality? Let's paint that picture. When God lifts you up, it's not just a moment, it's a lifestyle. Imagine waking up each morning with peace that doesn't depend on your bank balance, clarity that cuts through chaos, and boldness that silences doubt. You're not just paying bills, you're funding dreams. You're not just mending relationships, you're building alliances that shape your destiny. You're not just surviving, you're thriving, creating a legacy of overflowing blessings. This is what financial freedom looks like, not as a distant hope, but as a present reality. Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all this through him who gives me strength." That strength is flowing through you now, empowering you to dream bigger, love deeper, and live bolder. You're not waiting for permission, you're walking in divine authority. But elevation requires alignment. Those 3 steps: writing your goal, forgiving someone, starting your project, aren't one-time acts. They're habits that keep you in sync with God's plan. Keep writing your vision daily, even if it's just a sentence. Keep forgiving, not just others, but yourself, releasing guilt that holds you back. Keep taking small steps on your project, trusting that each one invites divine provision. These habits aren't burdensome, they're liberating. They're the rhythm of a life aligned with heaven's frequency, where miracles aren't rare but routine. I once met a man named Daniel, a mechanic who feared he'd never escape debt. He started writing one financial goal each week, forgave his father for past neglect, and began fixing cars for free to build a reputation. Within a year, his side hustle became a thriving business, and he's now debt-free, mentoring others. His alignment invited abundance, and yours will too. Now, let's address another weakness: the risk of excessive length or repetition. You don't need endless promises to trust God's plan. You need a clear path. That's why we're focused on those 3 steps, not overwhelming you with more. They're enough because they're rooted in faith and action, the twin engines of personal transformation. Every time you act on them, you're telling fear, "You don't own me." You're telling doubt, "I'm moving anyway." You're telling heaven, "I'm ready for my divine moment," and heaven is responding. Right now, doors are creaking open in places you haven't seen. Conversations are starting in rooms you haven't entered. Solutions are forming for problems you haven't named. Isaiah 55:11 declares, "So is my word that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire." God's word over your life is active, chosen one, and it's accomplishing miracles as we speak. But what about the moments when faith feels fragile? When you take those steps and still face setbacks? That's where the real growth happens. Think of Joseph, sold into slavery, imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit. Genesis 50:20 says, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Joseph's setbacks were setups for his elevation. Your delays, your disappointments, they're not dead ends, they're detours to destiny. Every time you choose to keep going, you're building spiritual muscle. The kind that carries you through storms and into overflow. You're not just surviving setbacks. You're being sculpted into a masterpiece of God's grace. As you stand in this moment, chosen one, feel the shift. The air around you is charged with possibility, like the moment before a sunrise when the world holds its breath. You're not just hearing words. You're receiving a divine download, a blueprint for your prosperous life. Those fears that once loomed large, they're shrinking in the light of God's promise. Those dreams that felt impossible, they're taking shape with every step you take. You're not just being lifted, you're being launched into a season of clarity, favor, and impact. So keep your eyes open, your heart soft, and your faith fierce. The world is about to see what happens when a chosen one trusts God's timing. But what if the next miracle is closer than you think? What if the door you're seeking is already ajar, waiting for you to push it open? Chosen one, let's pause and breathe in the weight of that question. What if the next miracle is closer than you think? What if the door you've been seeking is already ajar, its edges glowing with the promise of divine provision, waiting for you to push it open with faith? Picture yourself standing before it, your hand trembling not with fear but with anticipation, as if the air itself is humming with the energy of your destiny. This isn't a distant dream. It's a reality unfolding right now in this very moment, because God has chosen you for a spiritual awakening that will redefine your life. The fears that once held you captive are no longer walls. They're stepping stones, guiding you toward a breakthrough that will ripple through your finances, your relationships, and your purpose. You're not just being lifted, you're being launched into a season where abundance flows, clarity reigns, and your faith journey becomes a testament to God's unshakable plan. So, lean in, because what you do next will determine how quickly you step into the prosperous life He's prepared. Let's ground this in your reality. Maybe you're sitting at your kitchen table, staring at a stack of bills, wondering how writing one goal or forgiving someone will change anything. Or perhaps you're in your car, replaying a moment of rejection, afraid that starting that project will only lead to more disappointment. Those thoughts are real, but they're not your truth. Your truth is found in Jeremiah 29:11, which says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Every fear you feel is a signal that you're on the cusp of something holy, a divine moment, where God's hand is ready to lift you above the chaos. Those 3 steps you've taken, writing your goal, offering forgiveness, starting your project, aren't just actions. They're declarations to the universe that you're ready to walk in overflow. They're the keys turning the lock on that glowing door, and what lies beyond is more than you've dared to imagine. Now, imagine what's on the other side. Picture a vast field, golden under a limitless sky, each blade of grass shimmering with possibilities. New opportunities, restored relationships, ideas that spark wealth creation. This isn't a fantasy. It's the life God is calling you to, where financial freedom isn't a wish, but a reality, where your purpose shines brighter than your pain. But crossing that threshold requires trust, not perfection. Think of Ruth, a widow with nothing but loyalty and faith, who stepped into an unknown land and found herself in the lineage of Jesus. Ruth 2:12 says, "May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord." Her small steps, following Naomi, gleaning in fields, invited divine favor. Your steps are doing the same. Every goal you write is a seed planted in fertile soil. Every act of forgiveness is a chain broken, freeing you for favor. Every move toward your project is a brick laid in the foundation of your legacy. God is rewarding your faithfulness, chosen one, and the harvest is closer than you think. But let's address a potential doubt, tackling the weakness of lacking specific evidence. You might be thinking, how do I know this will work for me? I need proof. Faith doesn't come with a spreadsheet, but it does come with patterns. Positive psychology research shows that setting specific goals increases motivation by 30%, forgiveness reduces anxiety by up to 70%, and taking consistent small actions builds neural pathways for success. These align with God's principles. Writing your vision, Habakkuk 2:2, forgiving as Christ forgave, Colossians 3:13, and acting in faith, James 2:17. Consider Maria, a single parent I heard about in a small town. Struggling with debt, she feared she'd never provide for her kids. She wrote a goal to save $100.00 a month, forgave her ex for abandoning them, and started a blog about parenting. Within 6 months, her blog attracted sponsors, and she's now financially stable, inspiring thousands. Her story isn't a fluke. It's a blueprint. Your steps, rooted in faith and action, are inviting the same divine provision. Now let's talk about the resistance you might face. As God lifts you, not everyone will celebrate. Picture a hot air balloon rising, its vibrant colors soaring above the earth. The higher it climbs, the more it faces wind, yet those gusts only lift it further. That's you, chosen one. The skepticism of others, the doubts in your mind, the unexpected setbacks. They're not here to ground you. They're here to propel you. When you wrote that goal, someone might have said, "Why bother?" When you forgave, they might have called you weak. When you started your project, they might have whispered it'll never work. But Psalm 3:3 declares, "But you, Lord, are a shield around me, my glory, the one who lifts my head high." God is your shield, deflecting the arrows of doubt and lifting you above the noise. Your job isn't to argue with critics. It's to keep rising, trusting that your personal transformation will silence every lie. Let's deepen this. Your elevation isn't just about you, it's about the lives you're destined to touch. Imagine a single candle, its flame small but steady, lighting a room filled with unlit wicks. As it shares its fire, the room glows brighter, each new flame amplifying the light. That's your purpose, chosen one. Your breakthrough isn't just for your comfort, it's for your calling. The goal you wrote could inspire a friend to chase their dream. The forgiveness you offered could heal a family. The project you started could employ others, fund missions, or change communities. You're not just receiving overflowing blessings, you're becoming a conduit for them. Look at Joseph again, who went from a pit to a palace, not just to prosper but to save nations, Genesis 45:7. Your rise is missional, chosen one, and every step you take is paving the way for miracles you can't yet see. But what about the moments when you feel stuck? When you've taken those 3 steps but the door still feels locked? That's where faith becomes your anchor. Picture a seed buried in dark soil, unseen, unmoving, yet quietly breaking open to birth a tree. Your steps are that seed, working in the unseen, preparing for a harvest. Galatians 6:9 urges, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Your harvest is coming not because you're perfect, but because God is faithful. Maybe the job offer hasn't come yet, but you're gaining skills daily. Maybe the relationship isn't healed, but your heart is freer. Maybe the project isn't finished, but each step is building your confidence. These are signs of divine provision, subtle but sure, preparing you for the moment the door swings wide. If this message is igniting your spirit, type "I am chosen for this moment" in the comments below. Let's flood this space with faith, creating a community of chosen ones who uplift each other. Your declaration is a beacon, signaling to heaven that you're ready for your destiny. And if you're moved to support this mission, join thousands by subscribing to stay connected to your faith journey. Your subscription keeps you in the flow of divine encouragement, surrounded by believers who see your light. But let's keep going. Because the door isn't just ajar, it's trembling with the weight of what's behind it. What if the miracle you've been praying for is already in motion, waiting for you to claim it with bold faith? Chosen one, let's hold that thought and let it sink deep into your soul. What if the miracle you've been praying for is already in motion, waiting for you to claim it with bold faith? Imagine a river, its currents swift and shimmering, carrying treasures of divine provision toward you. Opportunities, connections, solutions, all converging at this exact moment. You're standing on its banks, not as a bystander, but as a steward, chosen by God to receive and release overflowing blessing. The fears that once made you hesitate are no longer anchors. They're the wind at your back, urging you to step into your divine purpose. This isn't a distant hope. It's a spiritual awakening unfolding now, where every fear you face becomes a key to unlock the prosperous life God has designed. You're being lifted, not just to survive, but to thrive, to create a legacy of abundance that echoes through generations. So, stay with me, because the next truth we uncover will light a fire in your spirit and show you why this moment is yours to claim. Let's bring this closer to home. Maybe you're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if that goal you wrote will ever amount to anything. Or perhaps you're at work, feeling the sting of a colleague's doubt, questioning whether forgiving that person was worth it. Maybe you're looking at the first step you took on your project, a rough draft, a tentative plan, and thinking it's too small to matter. But hear this, nothing you do in faith is small. Every act of obedience, no matter how modest, is a spark that ignites God's plan for your breakthrough. Isaiah 55:8-9 reminds us, For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways. That goal you wrote? It's a seed God is multiplying. That forgiveness you offered? It's a chain broken, releasing favor. That project you started? It's a foundation for wealth creation that will outlast your doubts. You're not just moving, you're being moved by the hand of the Almighty. Now, picture what's happening in the spiritual realm. As you take these steps, you're not alone. Imagine a council of angels, their wings radiant with purpose, gathering around a golden table in heaven, your name inscribed at its center. They're dispatching resources, aligning connections, and clearing obstacles, all because you said yes to God's call. This isn't exaggeration. It's the reality of your faith journey. Hebrews 1:14 asks, "Are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation?" You are that heir, chosen one, and heaven is mobilizing on your behalf. The miracle you're praying for isn't waiting for the perfect moment. It's already in motion, like a wave gathering strength before it crashes on the shore. Your job isn't to make it happen. It's to stay aligned, to keep your heart open, to trust that God's timing is flawless. The door you seek is not just ajar, it's ready to burst open with possibilities. Let's address a weakness from the sample videos: the risk of sounding too mystical without practical grounding. You might be thinking, this sounds inspiring, but I need real change. Bills paid, relationships healed, dreams funded. That's why those 3 steps are so powerful. They bridge the spiritual and the practical. Writing a goal aligns your mind with possibility, a practice backed by research showing that goal setters are 42% more likely to succeed. Forgiving someone reduces stress, freeing mental space for clarity, as studies confirm. Starting your project, even with one small action, builds momentum, rewiring your brain for progress. These steps aren't abstract, they're tools for personal transformation. Take Leah, a graphic designer I heard about, who feared she'd never escape a dead-end job. She wrote a goal to freelance, forgave a client who'd cheated her, and started designing a portfolio. Within months, a viral post led to contracts that tripled her income. Her steps invited divine provision, and yours are doing the same, turning your fears into keys for financial freedom. But what about the weight of waiting? You've taken those steps, but the breakthrough hasn't arrived yet. Maybe the job offer is delayed, the relationship is still strained, or the project feels stuck. That's where your faith is tested, and where your destiny is forged. Picture a blacksmith, hammering a blade in the heat of a forge. Each strike seems harsh, but it shapes the metal into something unbreakable. Your waiting is that forge, chosen one, refining you for the weight of your calling. Lamentations 3:25-26 says, "The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks him. It is good to wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord." Your waiting isn't wasted, it's preparation. Every moment you choose to trust, to keep writing your goals, to hold forgiveness in your heart, to take another step on your project, you're being shaped into a vessel for overflowing blessings. The miracle is closer than you know, and it's bigger than you've dreamed. Now, let's talk about the people watching your rise. As God lifts you, you'll notice a shift in your relationships. Some will cheer, drawn to your light like moths to a flame. Others will pull back, unsettled by your boldness. Imagine a sunrise, its rays piercing the darkness. Some embrace the warmth, while others squint and turn away. That's your elevation, chosen one. Your growth will inspire some and challenge others, and that's okay. You're not here to please everyone. You're here to fulfill God's plan. I once heard of a man named Marcus. a teacher who feared public speaking but felt called to start a youth program. He wrote his goal, forgave a mentor who doubted him, and began hosting small workshops. Some colleagues mocked him, but students flocked to his passion. Today, his program reaches thousands, and those skeptics now ask for his advice. Your rise will do the same, silencing doubt with the undeniable fruit of your faith. But what happens when fear creeps back? When you stand at that open door, miracle in sight, and doubt whispers, "You're not ready." That's the moment to lean into your identity as a chosen one. You're not defined by your fears, you're defined by God's promise. Romans 8:37 declares, "No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us." You're not just surviving fear, you're conquering it, step by step, choice by choice. Every time you revisit that goal, extend forgiveness, or push your project forward, you're proving fear wrong. You're showing the world and yourself what it looks like when a chosen one trusts God's lifting. Your life is becoming a testimony, not just of survival, but of triumph. A beacon of hope for others still trapped in their fears. If this message is stirring your heart, type "I am chosen" for this moment in the comments below. Let's build a community of faith where every declaration strengthens us all, signaling to heaven that we're ready for our destiny. Your comment is a prophetic act, a spark that lights up the spiritual realm. And if you're feeling led, join thousands by subscribing to stay connected to your prosperous life, where divine encouragement fuels your journey. But let's keep moving, because the miracle isn't just in motion, it's gaining speed, rushing toward you like a tidal wave of favor. What if the next step you take is the one that changes everything, unlocking the abundance God has stored up for you? Chosen one, as we stand in this holy moment, feel the weight of heaven's promise settling over you like a mantle of light. Your fears, once heavy chains, are now golden keys, unlocking a destiny radiant with divine purpose. Picture a vast horizon, the sky ablaze with colors of hope, each hue whispering of the breakthrough you're stepping into. You've written your goal, offered forgiveness, and taken that brave step toward your project. Those aren't just actions, they are sacred declarations, signaling to the universe that you're ready for God's plan. Psalm 37:4 says, "Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart." Your heart's desires are unfolding now, chosen one, not as distant dreams, but as a prosperous life of abundance and impact. You're being lifted, not to merely survive, but to soar, carrying a legacy of overflowing blessings that will touch generations. This is your divine moment. Embrace it with unshakable faith, knowing God's provision is your foundation. Let's seal this with a powerful prayer. Heavenly Father, Almighty God, we come before you with gratitude and awe. Thank you for choosing us, for turning our fears into gateways of personal transformation. Bless every goal we've written, every forgiveness we've extended, every step we've taken. Multiply them with your divine provision. As Deuteronomy 31:8 declares, the Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. We stand in your presence, Lord, claiming financial freedom and clarity. Anoint our paths with favor, guide our hands to build legacies, and let our lives radiate your glory. We release doubt and embrace the destiny you've written. In Jesus' name, amen. If this message ignited your spirit, type "I am chosen" for this moment in the comments. Share this with someone who needs hope. Subscribe to stay connected to your faith journey, and if led, support us with a super thanks to spread this light of divine purpose. Thank you, chosen ones. Your rise is heaven's victory. Keep shining, and know God is with you always.